Welcome to this PayTrace webinar. My name is Sam Johnson. I'll be your host today. If you are new to PayTrace webinars, what you can expect from today's call is a 30-minute session around our topic of today, which happens to be expanding your B2B cash flow options with Trace ACH. We're going to be talking about one of the newer products that we've recently rolled out called Trace ACH, and diving into how that can improve your business and make you more efficient. So, without further ado, let's talk about today's agenda. Again, the topic of today's conversation is going to be ACH around PayTrace's new ACH platform. So we're going to get into a little bit of just kind of industry data, and we're going to discuss some of the ways that businesses are accepting payments today. From there, we're going to dive into our solution, Trace ACH, and we're going to get hands-on and do a bit of a demo with that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about some next steps. So if you do want to proceed with Trace ACH, you want some more information on it, where can you go to find that? And again, we'll tackle some of those questions as they come through. So let's get into this. Um, d- Talking about B2B payments, right? When we look at PayTrace, we really are a B2B focused payment solution. A lot of the challenges that our customers face today um, hap are around kind of digitalization, right? It's taking these current processes that are currently out there that might be a little bit more manual, they might be more paper driven, and trying to bring that more into a modern tech stack. So with that, one of the big issues that we see very commonly are slow traditional payment cycles. And really, what that means is, right, getting money in the bank quicker. As B2B businesses, right, we have a pain point that a lot of more of your traditional business to consumer businesses don't face in that we're not getting paid at the point of sale typically, right? A lot of the times when we make a sale, we have a sales order, that order to cash process isn't immediate, right? We might have some sort of term policy set up with our customers, um, and transaction flows just take a while, right? Oftentimes, on average, DSO or days sales outstanding can be over 28 days. In fact, I was just reading up on an article the other week that was saying it's becoming more common for days sales outstanding to take almost as much as 60 days, which, right, when it comes to cash is our lifeblood as a business. And if we don't have cash, a lot of the times businesses are having to look at ways of financing that elsewhere, which usually will have some type of cost, high interest rates, right? Inflation takes effect into that as well. So, right, we want to try to reduce that day sales outstanding as low as we can possibly get that to. Paper and manual processes also add into the fact that it takes a while to get paid if we are going through a long, right, physical paper invoice process where we're having to print it off, stick it in an envelope, and push that out to our customers. We might not expect to get paid for a while, right? Just on the USPS time frame alone with that, right? At a minimum, it's going to take 2 to 3 days for the customer to receive that invoice, and another 2 to 3 days if they cut that check immediately. So we're looking at a week, which, right, best case scenario. Usually, it's not going to be that. And then lastly, with these more manual paper processes, there's going to be a higher risk for human error, right? When it comes to reconciliation or just tracking things, or missing a piece of paper, a document that we may have received, right? There's going to be lots of areas in the process where there could be some sort of human error, right? So that's number one. Number two is a disconnected buying experience. I'll date this recording. We're at the end of 2024, right? We're a quarter of the way through the 21st century, which is crazy. And right, as consumers ourselves, we're used to very convenient, technology-driven buying experiences, right? It's not very often that in our day-to-days, we're using check or even using cash. Usually it's going to be some sort of direct pull from a bank account. It might be a card transaction. And there's a lot of really convenient ways that we can do that. As we see AP teams start to right trend towards this, we're seeing a lot more digital payments, whether it's right ACH, virtual cards, things like that. And they want to have that similar experience that they get as an individual consumer. So it's important for us as more of the supplier, as the merchant on these transactions, is we want to meet our customers where they are, right? It's going to drive better relationships with them. It's going to drive faster payments. And it's going to make them want to transact with us more, right? Buyers prefer to work with a single payment service. They don't want to have to use, right, all sorts of different payment mediums. They want to be able to use what they want to use, right? Whether that's card, whether that's ACH. And then lastly, just digital payment demand growth. One thing that, CFOs and financial professionals are tackling is really just trying to how can we modernize our tech stack, right? And how can we automate some of these processes? We don't want our AR teams to be focused on really tedious kind of tactical processes, right? That's not a good use of our staff's time. Really, we want our team to be working on things that are more strategic, that are going to impact the business more in the long run. And right, kind of old archaic processes are not going to be the best use of their time. Okay, so that's kind of the current landscape that we're facing. So with that, I'm actually going to drive a little bit of audience engagement here, and I'm going to launch a poll. Um, a lot of the times on these polls, I say there's no wrong or right answer, but on this one, there actually is a right answer. So I want to ask you all, what do you believe is the most popular form of B2B payment today? What are most businesses using? Is it card? Is it going to be more of that paper check? Is it ACH, the topic of today's conversation? I'm going to give you a hint. It's not going to be one of these last two. It's not wire or cash, but I had to put those up there. So I'm going to leave this up here for another, let's say, 5 seconds. Get your answer in. We're going to close that off in 3, 2, 1. So the results are number one comes in at card payments, number two at paper check, number three, ACH. To those of you that said paper check, you are correct. Um, and honestly, I kind of hate that poll because I don't like seeing that paper check is so high up on this list. 63% of payments made that are B2B are still being made by paper check. And that's an issue. That's an issue that PayTrace takes. There is a large amount on ACH and credit card. Um, but still, 2/3 just about of B2B payments are still being made by check. And again, it's 2024. Our goal as a solution, right, is we're trying to move people from this blue piece of the pie over to these other portions because we know the value is there, right? You're going to get paid quicker. Your employees are going to be more efficient. Um, right? Paper check just isn't really going to be the most optimal way for businesses to receive payments anymore. So that's why we're here today, right? We're here to talk about some of these other solutions that can solve some of these needs. So when we look at ACH and the value of ACH, right? When we start talking about this new product that we're rolling out, some of the benefits are we're going to have direct payment access, right? So when we look at your customers, we're going to have a really easy way to pull funds directly from their bank account, right? We're not going to have to worry about tracking them down and getting all that information. We can actually pull directly from them where we know that they have funds, and we're going to have access to that cash really quickly. I mentioned earlier, right? We want to meet our customers where they are and where they want to pay by leveraging Trace ACH along with your card payment options, right? Now we're not having to pigeonhole them only in card, or we're not having to accept ACH, but now we have to go directly through our bank, and that's going to have multiple different right mediums to have to pay through. We're having to manage PayTrace, we're having to manage our bank portal, all this stuff, right? By leveraging Trace ACH, now we can have all of our payment methods consolidated into one spot, and we have options for our customer to pay. Flexibility and control is very important, right? We're going to talk about some ways that we're going to have some visibility via ACH and via invoicing with some of PayTrace's invoicing tools, which is going to be really exciting for some of you. Um, Cost mitigation is kind of a big deal. One thing that PayTrace really prides itself on is being able to drive down a lot of the costs that go into a transaction. If you're accepting cards using our tools today, you're probably aware of interchange optimization and level two and level three processing, where we're able to reduce some of those card costs. One of the great things about ACH is just intrinsically it's going to be a slightly more cost-effective way than card, regardless. So being able to transact with that is going to help give us some better cost savings. Like always, PayTrace is going to have some of the highest data security that's out there. Everything that we do in the card space is PCI compliant, and everything that we do in the ACH space is going to follow NOTCHA regulations. So we're going to make sure that all of your accounts are very protected. It's secure. You're not hosting any of that sensitive data on your technology and your servers, right? PayTrace is taking on all of that, and we're making sure that your data is protected and your customers' data is protected. And then lastly, we'll talk about this a little bit more towards the end, but you're going to get the best support that you can find in payments. Um, right? With PayTrace, if you need to talk to a real person, you can get a hold of a real person. We don't leverage AI or chatbots. We leverage real people, and that's something that you're not finding very much today. So we really pride ourselves in that, and that's a value that we bring to you and to your customers. So when we start talking about ACH and our ACH product, where can that be found within PayTrace? As I'm sure most of you know, we deliver a lot of different payment methods, whether that's a virtual terminal, whether that's payment links, APIs, invoicing, right? We've got a lot of different products here. Pretty much anywhere that you can pay via card today, you can now accept payments, ACH payments. So you can see here, this is kind of a snapshot of all the different tools that we support ACH on. Recurring virtual terminal, digital invoicing, pay now buttons, right? Usually, this is going to encompass most of the different ways that you're going to find a need with. So whatever unique processes your business has, we can usually fit into that. This isn't going to be just kind of a cookie cutter solution. Hey, you need to fall into this one lane and it works. For that, we're going to work with your business to find the need that best fits it. So we've got a lot of tools here. I can talk about these at kind of a high level, but I think to best learn and understand how this is going to operate, let's dive into a quick, let's say, 10-minute demo to show you what this looks like. So with that, let me pause my screen sharing. I'm going to pull up my demo account. Okay. So if you're a PayTrace customer today, this should look pretty familiar to you. This is going to be my merchant account that I can log into. And when I have Trace ACH enabled on here, I'll now have this checks drop-down menu that I can navigate to. So I'm going to actually go in and we'll just run a quick virtual terminal transaction so you can see what this looks like in real life. I've got all of my different payment screens. If you're adopting this new, one thing that's nice is that we do have our hints boxes that will show up when we hover over these fields. So as you start adopting this, we're going to make that that learning curve very easy for you. So pretty straightforward. To save some time, I'm going to grab one of my stored cards on file, or rather accounts on file for Sam J. And we're going to run a quick ACH transaction for, let's say, $200. Um, I've got my SEC code as a telephone order. So this is if I'm taking a payment over the phone. We've got a few other options that we can check this as, right? PPD, CCD, or web orders. Right? We can train you on what all these different acronyms mean if it comes down to that. This is coming from a checking account. I've got a drop-down menu. I would assume majority of transactions are coming via checking. And then if I wanted to add an invoice number onto this for tracking, I'll have email addresses, physical addresses associated on here if I need it. And then I'll process that. Should just take a moment. And if everything looks correct on here, which fingers crossed that my demo account's working, it is successfully processed. Right. And now at this point, I can email receipts off to my customer, to myself. If this was a brand new bank account that we're adding onto here, I can actually update that onto my customer's profile. And what's nice about PayTrace is that if we have both card and bank account methods of payment, I can save those both onto one singular customer. So if they wanted to switch the method of payment, right, we can have those on file and we can just toggle between them as needed. Right. So pretty simple. I'm going to show you two other methods of transacting with ACH on here. The next one's going to be payment link. Right. This is one of our most popular features, I think, within PayTrace. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the URL to our just open-ended payment link, and I'm going to paste that into my browser. This will take me to my payment link page. So if my customer is just coming in and they need to make a kind of a blanket payment, let's just say for $50. I'll go ahead to billing. And when we have Trace ACH enabled on our merchant account, what's nice is that now my customer has the option to pay either by card or with their bank account. So if I toggle over here, this will alter the fields that are required. So it'll ask for account number and routing number as opposed to card number, right? And from there, they'll go ahead and enter in all of their payment information, submit their payment, and then they're good to go. The last one that I want to talk about integrates into one of our newer platforms called Trace AR. Some of you may be on Trace AR today, which is awesome. If not, we also have other webinars that talk about Trace AR and some of the values on this one. Really, this is going to be our invoicing tool. So if we wanted to send out itemized invoices that have tracking and history and all this cool stuff, you can leverage that. The thing I want to show you on this is that you can enable Trace ACH on your Trace AR platform, but this specifically has the ability to add on some different fee structures as well, right? So outside of just the invoicing, if we wanted to add on a surcharge, we have the ability to do so. So we can add on 3% on top of the total payment. And this would only go on card transactions. So if your customers wanted to avoid that 3% fee that offsets that card fee, right? They can use a debit card or they can use ACH as a form of payment. And you can see what that looks like when they go to pay, right? We'll have this little bank account window, or we'll have our credit card, which has that 3% fee. A couple other options that we have on here, convenience fees, which are going to be just adding on a flat amount for the convenience of using an online web portal, right? Kind of a digital invoice versus a physical one. Or what's becoming very popular right now is more of this cash discount. It's kind of the opposite of surcharge, where we have our card price, or if they wanted to pay by, right, a bank account, they would get a cash discount. This can be positioned a couple different ways. One of the more common ones that we're seeing now is this dual pricing. So it will actually display both the cash and ACH price, and it will also display what the card price would look like. So if we do pay by, cash or ACH in this case, right, they'd pay $100 on this $100 transaction. But if they choose to pay by card, this would come through as $103, right? So it's a 3% cash discount in this. So depending on how you want to offset costs or pass on fees to the consumer, or you can just pay the processing fees yourself, right? There's going to be some different options here for you, however you want to transact on that. So just a cool new feature that PayTrace has rolled out with our Trace AR product. So just know that, again, depending on how you want to price things out, how you want to get that payment in front of your customers, whether that's an email, whether that's a payment link or over the phone. PayTrace is going to have plenty of solutions that's going to meet that need. All right. So we're actually doing pretty good on time, team. I'm going to hop back over into our presentation deck. If you did see our webinar, we did this a few months ago when we first kind of went into the beta stages of Trace ACH. Um, we've since rolled out the ability to do this via API. So I just showed you kind of the Trace AR product of this. Now ACH is available really on any integration platform that we support. So if you're doing a custom integration with PayTrace on our API, maybe you have your own kind of internal proprietary software that you're using. You can now take ACH payments and all of that reporting data, all that information flows into one place. Or if you're using any of our other integration platforms, right, you're doing a QuickBooks Online integration, maybe you're doing a Microsoft Dynamics Business Central integration, right, you name it. Now we have ACH supported on those platforms as well. So you're not just going to be pigeonholed to card. Now you've got a variety of payment methods. I always like ending up these presentations with just so a company profile of us. If you're on this call, you're probably already a customer of ours, or maybe you're a partner of ours, or maybe you're an employee of ours. I see a couple of pay tracers on this call as well. Um, we've been doing this for a very long time. This is actually our 20th year in business. We were founded back in 2004. In that time, we've grown to have over 40,000 customers using us, as well as over 300 different partners that support and sell our products. And in that annually, we have about $50 billion in total volume. I say these things because, PayTrace isn't necessarily a household name, but we do have a lot of credibility. We call ourselves the B2B payment experts because we truly are the B2B payment experts. And I think that you can see that in both the numbers that we show, but also in the feedback that we get from our customers. We really do provide a great platform. Um, our support, when we talk about support, and kind of feedback that we get from our clients and our partners, a lot of people say that they come to PayTrace for our technology or for our cost savings that we provide, but they usually stay with us because of the support, right? A year or two down the line, you might have somebody knocking on your door and saying, you know what, I can reduce your cost by a couple basis points. But when it comes down to it, we're going to be a really great solution because we care about your business. We want to make sure everything's working right. Um, and we're going to be here for you as you grow, as you scale, as you have questions, as issues might arise. You're going to be able to get a hold of us pretty immediately. Um, if you want our support number, I'm happy to give that to you. But we have an expectation that when you call us, you're going to get a live individual within 20 seconds or less, 85% of the time. And you really can't find that anywhere else. So why all this matters? Oops. There we go. Um, if we're really breaking this down to very quick sound bites on what the value proposition of Trace ACH is, number one, we want you to get paid quicker, right? We want you to meet your customers where they are, and be able to get that money in the bank quicker. If you're in the finance world, you know that the prime rate right now is it's coming down. The Fed's lowering it, but it's still going to be over 6% on lending right now. So if you don't have cash reserves, you know, um, it's going to cost a lot to borrow. So we want you to get money in the bank quicker. Number two is that this is a one-stop shop, right? With PayTrace, you don't have to manage a ton of different technology vendors. We are going to be kind of a full tech stack for all of your payments, whether that's integration into your other systems, whether that's accepting card, ACH transactions, all of that's in one spot. Um, and I think that's great with regards to support. I think that's great in regards to knowing where your money's coming from. Um, right? All of your reporting is going to be in one spot. So with that said, we've got about 5 minutes left. I haven't actually been seeing any questions coming through. So if you do have any questions, feedback, emotional outbursts, any of that, please let us know here. Um, I'm going to put some contact information up here on this screen. If you need to get a hold of somebody and you don't know who your sales rep is or who your relationship manager is, you can just reach out to us at sales@paytrace.com and we can get that over to the right person for next steps. All right. Looks like I've got a question here from Nigel. Nigel's asking, hello, are there any additional documents required to allow us to process ACH transactions? Great question. We want to make the process to accept ACH extremely simple. There's a very small underwriting process. It's like one page that basically needs to get filled out. If you're already a customer of ours, it's going to make it even simpler because we have some of that information on file. But Nigel, yeah, please, if you're interested to reach out to your sales rep, they'll be able to provide that documentation. And really, I think if you get that filled out today, I think our expectation's 48 hours, but it's usually even less than that to get that processed. So we can get you up and running here really quickly. Looks like there's a follow-up question. What are the costs involved? Great question. Our sales team, Nigel, will be able to talk a little bit more about kind of the cost structure of Trace ACH. What I can speak to at a high level on this one is that there's just going to be usually there's a monthly cost with having the ACH, and then there's going to be some type of per transaction cost included with that. So, like I said, we can have that discussion with you, but it is it's very reasonable. I can say that. Thanks, Nigel. Okay. One last thing is that we will have a lot more of these webinars coming up into the new year. So if you're not already subscribed to our blog, I'd recommend checking that out. We're going to have a lot of new products coming out. Our dev team's going to be very busy, and I'm excited for that. And if you'd like just some more self-discovery information on Trace ACH, we did release a new link on our website. You go to paytrace.com. You'll find that link under payment solutions. Go to Trace ACH, and we just have a lot more just information. We have a data sheet on here that you can check out. So you can always poke around on our website and learn a little bit more about that as well. Okay, team, thank you so much. I appreciate your engagement today. Have a happy holiday season. And if you are watching this on YouTube as well, or you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe to the PayTrace page. We'd appreciate that. Okay, thanks all. Take care.